Okay, so I'm Jane Mildred, and I'm the current president of Amherst Neighbors. I'm going to be introducing the slideshow and telling you a little bit about Amherst Neighbors, most of which I hope you already know. And then we're going to be hearing some reports about our accomplishments in 2024, and then we're looking forward to hearing from all of you about what we should be doing in 2025. So if you want to move to the next slide, Emily, this is our annual membership assembly. I just pretty much told you what the agenda is. It's organized, the slideshow is organized in the first part around our mission and how we furthered the mission. And then we're going to introduce you to a new board member and say goodbye to some board members who are sadly leaving. And then we want to talk to you about what's next for Amherst Neighbors and how you can help. So next slide. Okay, I think probably, hopefully, you know what our mission at this point. It's to build neighbor-to-neighbor connections, provide access to information and services, and empower elders to maintain socially engaged lives while aging at home. And our vision is to create an inclusive community. And I think really central to our mission and our vision is this idea of building community. We really hope for an interdependent community of people who are not alone in our town because they know that there are other people there um, to help and to be helped by. And so pretty much everything that we do is in service of that mission and that vision. So next slide.
And hi, I'm Susan. I'm on the board, and this is one of my slides. So some of the things that we've done in 2024 was building neighborly connections. Now, because Amherst Neighbors started really during COVID or got really more active during COVID, many of the neighbor-to-neighbor questions were helping oriented, which is certainly a big piece of the neighbors concept. This year, we focused a little bit on some of the social activities with new members. We now have 656 total members. Some events, people attend 70 plus people attending a picnic. To me, that's a social event. Thank you to the committee who worked on getting that together. 90 plus people at the fall gala, which was just more or less a month ago, maybe 5 weeks at the Hampshire College Red Barn. And there was some good dance in there if you missed it. Also, a good social event. We've also been offering some smaller events, some in-person lunches and cookies and teas, which is ongoing to just get together and discuss things. We've also had special visitors at some of the lunches and teas in the names of Mindy Dom, Police Chief Gabriel Ting, and Town Council President Lynn Griesmer. Just drop in and say hi and what's happening in town and talk to us and have a lovely chat. So this is a group that's somewhat underrepresented. I know there is a 97-year-old, she admits to be 97, has come to two or three of the lunch meetings. So it's maybe not your neighbor that's a more of a peer to you, but it is another neighbor from Amherst, and they've been very interesting people and discussions from my perspective. Other things we've looked at is for those of you who don't know of Liz Welsh, she was the founder of Amherst Neighbors. Linda Terry was a major person to help in the beginning and frame things in the beginning. So we had Linda Terry, unfortunately, became ill and passed away I think 2 years ago, maybe three. So we have an award in her name, which we gave this year to former President Liz Welsh for her service in building Amherst Neighbors as a whole and some of the neighborly connections. There'll be more to come on some of the other gatherings and underrepresented groups, but for now, I'm going to hand things over to Laura Drake.
I am Laura Drake. I have big shoes to fill. I took over from Liz Welsh as the volunteer coordinator. We have had some accomplishments in 2024. You can see from the pie chart that we completed 990 requests. The most of them were for neighborly visits, and secondly, transportation requests. Neighborly visits includes the Pioneer Valley Memory Care Initiative pairings. So, you should take that in consideration when you're thinking of how many visits we've been doing. We have, did somebody want to say something? No. We trained 41 new volunteers this year through a combination of just general orientations that are, sent out to the listserv, some one-on-one orientations, and some telephone trainings. And we now have 75 active volunteers, including, which I really like, including some students from UMass and Amherst College. So we're kind of trying to build that intergenerational kind of thing with UMass and Amherst College. Can I have the next slide? So I'd like to give a shout out to our call managers. They are the first people that members come in contact with when they're looking for a service. They staff the phone lines and email 5 days a week. And also some people get on there on the weekends, but we're going to pretend that doesn't happen. We had 2 successful initiatives this year, the smoke detector battery team, Susan Krim, Jan Idelson, and David Ratner. They went into, it looks like 20 homes, but I don't know if that's right. But they changed some batteries. They traveled all over town. And then the tech time, which happens once a semester in partnership with the UMass Computer Science Department. We had 20 students this year provide help to 72 of our members, assisting them with their laptops, their iPads, their phones. We did it at the Survival Center in the fall. We also helped a few of the Survival Center clients who were walk-ins. So that worked out really well. And then finally, Pioneer Valley Memory Care Initiative, which is really Larry's coordination of that. But we do have 8 active volunteer pairs with, I believe, 2 more in the wings. And 2 of the UMass students who are actually nursing students at UMass particularly specifically signed up as volunteers because they wanted to work with PVMCI. So that's a win for that partnership. Okay, and I will turn that over to, I believe it's Paul. Nope, Sandy.
Sandy.
Sorry, Sandy.
Hi, that's okay. I'm Sandy Roth, and I'm on the board of directors, and I'm also on the chairperson of the programs committee. And I've been working on the programs committee now for 3 or 4 years, and I imagine I'll continue that role. And it's really, I'm just so proud of the kinds of resources that the program committee has been able to find in the Pioneer Valley to provide opportunities for our members for educational and learning experiences. You can see from the little pie chart there, we've had a number of programs on healthy aging, social and cultural events, political, historical, and we've gone on a number of local tours this year now that COVID is over. And we visited the Mead places like the Mead Art Gallery, Hitchcock Center for the Environment, We will be having a talk from the hospice of the Fisher Home. And so we've been able to, as a program committee, take advantage of the resources in the valley. And we have so many people with such tremendous skills and knowledge that we've been able to tap into them to volunteer and do some programs for us. Can I have the next slide, please? I think what I'd like to do is talk about, we've had some highlights here. And one of the highlights for me, because when I'm coordinating a program, I'm also a participant. And I have driven by the Hitchcock Center probably 200 times in my lifetime living in Amherst for the last 54 years. And I've never been to the Hitchcock Center, and I really didn't know what it was. So, but as a member of Amherst Neighbors, I had the opportunity to visit the Hitchcock Center, and it was really an eye opener. And I think with every program that we have, we get feedback from our members that it really is something that really enriched their lives and was meaningful to them. One of the things that happened at the Hitchcock Center is we were given a private tour to parts of the Hitchcock Center which the general public does not go to. We went down into the basement, and there was this infrastructure of the most recent technology in green architecture that I could ever imagine. The Hitchcock Center is one of only 4 buildings in Massachusetts and 24 in the United States that has this top ranking green architecture where it creates its own energy, collects its own water. And it was just a wonderful event. And I'm really proud to be part of Amherst Neighbors, the program committee, that we can provide these experiences for our members. And I'm looking forward to doing that again in the future. We have a core of 4 to 6 members that we meet once a month, and we have our members' best interests at heart, just like Amherst Neighbors does. Okay, thank you, and will pass it on to the next person.
Looks like Paul.
It's me, yeah. So, oh, here I am, just looking for the screen to come on there. So, both myself and Pat Romney co-chair the Communications and Outreach Committee. And as you can see, this is our vision of creating an inclusive community. And this is spread out across the entire Amherst Neighbors organization. This is what we're out here doing. And we're trying to get the word out in the Amherst neighborhood and Emerson Pelham neighborhood to let people know what's going on. As you can see from the slide, we're sharing information about our program, its resources and services with older adults in Amherst and Pelham. And we put a special emphasis this past year on outreach to members of our BIPOC community. And that's an area that we need to grow. There are many Black, Indigenous, people of color in our neighborhoods who could benefit from being part of this organization. And we're beginning to slowly get more and more information to groups who are on the margin like that. We're presenting and sharing information with places of worship, educational institutions, community groups, senior housing communities, and service agencies. So we're spreading ourselves all around, bringing information to our entire community. And we're communicating information through social media, print and broadcast media, and person-to-person interactions. I might say, like, not everything is always by email. It's not always by a telephone. Sometimes we're walking around. In fact, not too long ago, I was wearing one of my buttons that says, "Ask me about Amherst Neighbors." And I was in the store and 2 people asked me about Amherst Neighbors. And so that's the kind of energy we want to generate. We want people to pay attention to this vital service we're offering. So let me go to the next slide. So this year, we reached out to the community with tabling events. Christine, Sonhalter, Dulcie Thomas, myself recently were at the Survival Center doing a tabling event. We had another one at the Black Roots Festival on the Common, and we saw lots of people. We reached out, as I said, to area religious institutions. We've made visits in that way. And we held a successful recruitment event for the Latino community featuring the really renowned Latin band Banda Criollo, and had a wonderful event. Again, you can see the picture on the side. There's numbers dancing, communicating, and in fact, we got a person join us, join our membership from that one event. I think maybe two. We held our first ever outreach meeting with members of the Amherst Black and African American community. This was pretty special because these are folks we know in and around the community who not only could benefit from being members, but they have some influence and can spread the word. We've signed up a few new members and volunteers this year. Um, and this is a little overstated in terms of hosting the Ancestral Bridges photo exhibit, but what we did was really help promote that. This is a programming effort from our Amherst Neighbors, and what Communications and Outreach did was really try to promote this kind of event in our community to get people to be there. It's part of our job. We supported our gala fundraiser at the Red Barn. I think someone mentioned there was a lot of good dancing. It was the same band,
Yeah.
but the full band at Banda Criollo that came, and it was quite wonderful. And we made some presentations at places like the Clark House, where we go back, we have members there, and we leave information, volunteer forms, membership forms, etc. So we're continuing to do as much as we can in terms of outreach. You know, our goal is to draw more people in and get them involved. So thank you. And I'll pass it to the next person.
Hi there. So I have been the treasurer of this organization, great organization, starting in January 1st of this year. So I'm approaching the end of my first year. And before that, I was a member of Finance Committee. And so I did the second half of a fiscal year 2024, and we ended the year with a $28,000 plus in surplus, which was very good. And the prior year, 2023, we ended with another surplus of $10,000. And so there are some things that we are keeping very closely, watching closely. And one of them is the Linda Terry grant. That was a memorial grant for her on her behalf. And we no longer have any remaining portions of that, and which was like 13,000 in FY 2024. And also there was another in a grant that Home Instead Charities, which they no longer have. It was like whatever somebody donated through Club Express, they were doubling that. So that was a nice 15,000 some $1,000 we got from that grant, and it no longer exists. But this year, Jane and Paul are actively working on another grant from Wild Gifting. So that would be a good support for our operating needs. And looking at the donations we received by fiscal year. So last year, again, including the Linda Terry estate and the Home Instead revenues, and we did over close to 72,000. And this year, for the first 5 months, we are 17,000 there. So we have a kind of a steep hill to climb, but we are working on different fundraising efforts, and we encourage anybody with any fundraising experience to join our search. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Larry. I'm also on the board, and we kind of renewed our fundraising efforts, as Sarah referenced, Earlier this year, we got our committee up and running, and the kinds of things that you're familiar with would be our direct mail effort that we do in the spring. The Florence Savings Bank effort where we ask you to vote for us as one of the not-for-profits to receive their community donation. Um, the board of directors itself makes donations, and then of course the gala. Areas of opportunity for us going forward are trying to get more from our local businesses and corporate folk who are in the region, and we really need your help if you have any ideas in that direction, just names, numbers, people. But we do meet monthly. We did get one person. We'd love a few more who to join our monthly meeting and help us brainstorm and grow. Just so you're aware, we do spend in the neighborhood of 50 grand a year. That's kind of our budget for this fiscal year. And it's things like insurance, village to village fees, which are kind of the mothership that oversees neighborhood organizations like ours, IT platforms, administrative support, and it costs money to run the gala and the picnic and other things that we do. So there is some fixed expense. It's why we continue to periodically ask for your support. We've had some real creative ideas, like Liz Welsh doing a yard sale. And that yard sale brought $1,000 to Amherst Neighbors. So, there's a lot of good ideas that we haven't yet seen, and we would love any creative thoughts that you have. Saren already referenced that our numbers look bigger last year because Linda Terry's bestowed some monies or through her estate when she passed away. That was most generous. Any of you who love Amherst Neighbors want to put stuff like that in your will, that's very helpful. And it's future, kind of future support, so to speak. And so I think that's good for that slide. You want to go to the next one? Thank you. Okay, is there just one? Okay. So just a final thought on the fundraising piece is we definitely want your thoughts, your creativity, and your support. As Saren was saying, it does get harder for us not having one-time windfalls like the Home Instead home care company doing matching gift monies, matching monies on previous donations. So as good things have happened, they've helped us a great deal in our growth. We're looking for that next wave. Now we can go on to the next topic. Next slide. Thank you so much. So we're now looking at board members, and we've been very blessed. We've had some phenomenal folks helping us for many years. Jane, who's stepping off as president, will still be in town and still helping. She has a passion and appreciation. Jane has been a president for the past 2 years. She truly is a leader extraordinaire. She's thoughtful. She's patient. She's a most gifted writer, and in fact has been supportive of our newsletters and grant proposals. And we, as a result of her work, have some excellent narrative to use in other grant proposals, and there will be many of those down the road. She's led our board meetings. She's made them stimulating, kept us focused on mission. Liz Welsh is celebrating her birthday today, which is why she's not here right now. And I told her, party on, Garth, have a good time. She has given her heart and soul to this organization, hence the Linda Terry Award that was so deserving. She is a founder, an amazing developer of our volunteer service program, which is literally serving over 1,000 requests this year. We figured out how to go through COVID and grow. We're so appreciative of all that Liz has done. Pat Romney just finished her second 2-year term So she's given a lot early on in the founding mode and then helping us over the last couple of years, co-leader of the communications and outreach, significant efforts to educate, recruit underserved community in Amherst. One of her passions and love is to talk about joy, something we all need more of in our lives. She did a great workshop through our program committee and recently did a podcast through Backyard Oasis. If you're interested in Pat's podcast on joy, you can Google that and you'll find it. Caroline Murray was on this year. She was challenged with some competing priorities, but very helpful in our looking at membership engagement. A very bright and caring person. And those are the four folks that are leaving us. So we can go to the next slide. And there are the 8 current board members who will carry the baton on into 2025. I'm going to say very briefly, Laura, and you've heard from most of these folks. Laura is our newest board member, and we welcome her. She came on in the summer, following Liz Welsh, tough footprints to step in, and she did a great job, really great job picking up the volunteer service. Does a lot of training, is an excellent trainer, and had tremendous amount of work helping to coordinate the gala. Susan Krim, you heard from, is currently our clerk, and you've heard about some of her creative ideas with the lunch in the park, and it's morphed into other names, but essentially it's people coming together and spending a little bit of time, you know, socializing, and we all need more of that. And her smoke detector battery program was her creation as well. Saren Darren came on following Ann Sklar as the treasurer, not an easy task. Ann had done it for a bunch of years. Took that on and boldly has figured out a lot of things and is very helpful in keeping us balanced. Had some good ideas to figure out ways of getting more interest out of the money that we have. Our goal is to have at least a year, beyond the normal year of expense so that if something crashed, we would carry on for the next year. And we're well on our way toward that. Paul Wiley is over communications and outreach, focuses a lot on educating the public, as you heard. Christine Sonhalter rolls up her sleeves and gets involved in communications outreach, fundraising, gala, picnic. She's a doer and critical to our efforts. Austin Surratt, I don't know how he does all the things he does. He's a full-time professor at Amherst College. He does a call managing for the volunteer service program on Wednesdays. He'll be doing a program on January the 9th on democracy, a juicy topic, no doubt. And it'll be at least the 4th time he's done a program for our membership. And then lastly, Sandy Roth, who has been chair of the program committee for a bunch of years. We're doing 20 to 25 of these programs every year. There's work behind the scenes getting all these accomplished. So it's a great group of people. We'd love to have more join our board. So please give that serious consideration and just tell us you're interested so we can get the ball rolling. And with that, we'll move on. That is
Okay.
not me. Okay.
No, this is Susan. I'm on and I had to unmute.
Okay.
So thank you. So this is kind of a review in some ways. Larry just touched on some of the ways we're trying to focus on fundraising, and we urge people to think about what you might want to do in the new year. It's time to always review things, make a resolution or two possibly. Many of the committees and tasks do not require more than, say, 4 or 5 hours per month, and you can contribute back to your community. So that's will help us being on the committees and also offering more programs. Do you have something you are capable and willing and interested in sharing, like Austin's thoughts on democracy or any other kind of program for about an hour? Usually on Thursdays, but could be another day if that helps for you. Also, if you know and enjoy what you've used it with the Amherst Neighbors, if you've had a good service experience, please do tell your own friends and neighbors about our programs and about our organization. We do want the town and the community to be aware of us. We want to work closely with the senior center. We are not at all trying to compete with them. In fact, one of the people here in the picture is the chair of the Council of Aging and overseeing the senior center. So we are looking to coordinate with town folks and just have fun too. Um, we had, I think it was 8 people at lunch the other day, and the town council president, Lynn Griesmer, came and talked to us just because she was in the building. She hadn't planned to visit, but we had a great discussion about Amherst as a town and where we live. So with that, we ask for your thoughts, your input, and I'm going to turn that over to Paul to bring up some questions on what do we, what should we as an organization, what do you, the members tell us, the board, you want to do in 2025? Thank you. And Paul, on to you, though you look to be on mute on my screen.
Well, I'm here and here I am. Is it possible for me to see people?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could take the
yeah,
slideshow down.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, gee. Yeah, that was wonderful. Well, first of all, like we said at the time, I want to thank all of you who came tonight. This is really, really encouraging to see everyone's faces and names on the screen, and we're all happy you're here. And one of the things we try to do at the annual meeting every year is really try to learn a little bit more about ourselves and where we're going. And so, how much time, by the way, do we have here,
well,
Larry? Right there,
7:30.
7:30.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
7:30. Yep.
So I want to make sure we get as many voices in this as we can, and we'd like to hear your thoughts. And there are a few questions here, and I'm going to start right in with the one I think that would really help us to sort of set the tone for what we feel about Amherst Neighbors, and that is, what do you appreciate about this organization? You are members. You have been members for either a short or a long period of time. What do you appreciate about Amherst Neighbors? And while you're thinking about that, I will take the liberty to start it off. One of the things I appreciate about Amherst Neighbors is that we all have this really strong desire to live full, industrious, and happy lives. And I've noticed that from myself all the way through everyone I've met as in Amherst neighborhoods, Amherst neighborhoods, in Amherst neighbors, et cetera. So I appreciate that, and that's something I appreciate. I really value and appreciate from Amherst Neighbors, like what it does to help support that appreciation that I hold for the group. There's a lot going on there, and it's a great connection for me. So anybody else? Let me see if I can get I can't see everybody on screen, but just jump right in and I'll find you.
Audrey, your hand's up. I can see that.
I
You'll
see
need to
Audrey
unmute.
now. Yeah, hi Audrey. You can unmute yourself. That would be great. You're still muted there.
Yeah, lower left usually.
Looks
Yeah,
like everybody's muted. Did we mute them from the?
Emily, are we able to unmute everybody?
Yeah, it looks like everybody's muted.
Aha.
I think people have to unmute themselves. I can ask people to unmute and they could click.
Okay.
Well, I got muted without even doing it, so I'm not sure what's
Yeah,
going
I'm wondering,
on.
I see,
I just unmuted myself.
It looks like Audrey's struggling. While you work on that, somebody else want to jump in on the question of what do you appreciate? What's been helpful? Go
see.
ahead, Jane.
Jane, yeah.
Yeah, I think Amherst has a reputation for being a sort of a difficult community in terms of conflict and people having very strong opinions. And I think the thing I most appreciate about Amherst Neighbors is that it's kind of an oasis in the middle of all of that because, we really are very positive and, as far as I'm aware of, we don't have any conflict. In the 4 years I've been involved with Amherst Neighbors, you know, um, I've just had a really good experience. So for me, that's really, really valuable.
Thank you, Jane. I still see a lot of folks muted.
Yeah, we have to help Audrey here.
Yeah, I'd like to get Audrey back on the
I
screen
think
here.
while Audrey, lower left corner toward the bottom, you'll see video and audio. If you click on the audio, you can make yourself be heard. And while you're working on that, Josna, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Josna, you want to go ahead? Go ahead,
Hi.
speak up.
Hi, I just want to add to what Jane said about the first word I put down was positive.
Huh.
People aren't being like, cutesy positive. They're just being positive. And there's a spirit of give and take, which I really like. And also not just lip service to inclusion, but real inclusion. So all of those things are wonderful. And I really appreciate it. It's a huge addition to the community. Thank you.
Well, positivity, Jasna, is something we certainly strive for. And I can tell by your answer, that's something that you probably send out a lot of.
Well,
Is
no,
positivity.
I'm real critical a lot of the time. Like,
No, I'm
in
looking at
general,
you.
I'm,
You can't fool me.
I'm a naysayer. But when it comes to Amherst, neighbors, I feel completely opposite.
And let me say, we appreciate that energy too. Others of you, thank you for that. Yes, Flo.
Hi, I've been a member probably for the last couple of years, and of course, I've had smoke detectors and light bulbs and those kinds of things. But perhaps the most meaningful was when we requested a visit from a dog. And Diane Amsterdam and Michael Childs came over with their wonderful dog, Osa, 2 times. And it was very, very meaningful to my husband in the last months of his life because that was the thing he missed most, was not having a dog. And just those few hours with that wonderful dog was terrific. So in case anybody doesn't know about that, that's a wonderful service that Amherst Neighbors offers.
Great, great. That's super. Audrey, still working on that. Let's see.
You can't get her voice, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sorry about that.
yeah.
Who's
Wish
the
we could
host?
find-
I thought the host could
Sending you
unmute
some
people.
messages in chat, Audrey. I'm sending you some instructions.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jane.
That's true. Plan B is to write the question in the chat.
That's right.
Other people who are with us. Yes, Jean. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I just wanted to say that I've taken advantage of the computer tech stuff at the Survival Center. And I believe that's something that you sponsor, and it has been terrific. And then there's another thing that you do, and we have a fellow coming over from UMass Computer Science Department to help us set up a new computer. So the that tech stuff has been very, very helpful.
Mm. And that's good to hear because I think what Amherst Neighbors is trying to do is trying to be responsive to the needs of our community. And so I've taken part in that myself. And it's wonderful to be in that environment, get the technical help, but also meet a lot of these young folks who are in and about serving the community. And
I
that
think
was
it's
in
great
response to a need. Go ahead.
I think it's great for the students because they learn the what should I say, the computer gap or the technology gap, but they learn how to communicate with, with people who maybe aren't so tech savvy, and they've been very, very good at it. So
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative of that.
I
Well,
mean,
thanks.
I could speak to the students because I gave quite a few of them rides back to campus after this particular session, and they just they're well, first of all, they're very I'm actually surprised by this. They're very, very articulate. And the reason I say I'm surprised is because I worked for many years with IT people, and being friendly and fun is not what they're known for. But these students loved working with these folks. And, of course, they said a lot of them reminded them of their grandparents. So that was kind of nice. They meant it as a compliment. And the intergenerational is, for me, is really, really good. I know Larry agrees with me because I just love seeing the two generations interacting.
Mm.
So,
And I think many of us could probably help them with
Yes.
how to interact with us, especially
That's
any of us
true.
that have been teachers or anything. So it was really good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Elaine, I think I saw your hand a moment ago.
Yeah, I wanted to express can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yep.
can.
My appreciation for all the support that I've been given. It's wonderful to have someplace that you can reach out to and get help from. And I truly appreciative. That's all I wanted to say.
That's wonderful, and that's really, really great to hear. Paul, I see that hand sitting up in the left corner of your screen. How are you?
It's Ramon. Can you see me?
Paul.
Oh,
Oh,
He raised his hand on the
yeah.
screen.
Ramon, we'll get to you next, Ramon.
okay.
Paul's up.
Paul Z.
I inadvertently hit the raise your hand button because I'm the tech expert. I'm supposed to know how this thing works, and I accidentally hit it. So I'm brand new to the community. Laura's family is based here, and Laura's more familiar with Amherst. But for me, this is a completely brand new community. I came from Newton, Massachusetts, which is too big and too impersonal for me to be able to develop one-to-one connections with folks of my generation. This organization has given me a window into what life is like for folks who are over 55 in a relatively educated and an economically viable community that has some problems as well, but it's also a very vibrant place to live. So it's given me a positive sense that this was a great choice to move to this community. So I'm eager now to be able to give back, to use the talents and energy that I still have, that I'm blessed with. And the Neighbors organization is, for me, a channel for doing that. So I can't wait to roll up my sleeves and start helping.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, we will
Yeah.
be looking forward to seeing more of you.
Yes.
And I appreciate that
Welcome.
comment. Yeah, definitely. And we probably have something for you to do, Paul. So don't go too far afield here. We'll be working with you.
You could
And thank you
coordinate
for
the
that
next tech
comment.
time, Paul.
Yeah, right. And I think Ramon was on the
Yeah,
under
Ramon.
Yeah.
Ramon. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
you are.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm just taking advantage of this opportunity to thank everybody that I've been in contact with or have given me rides. I mean, they are all incredible people, very kind, very patient, very understanding. And I don't know what I would do without them. I'm just so grateful. And please
Nice.
continue to help.
Well, we're certainly
And
grateful for
one
you
other
as well.
question I was going to ask,
Please.
does the organization have their own physical space, like an office or something, or you all work from home?
Yep, we do.
We work from home.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. So it's not like Amherst, the senior center, you don't have a space.
Right.
No, we really,
Mm.
we're funded, almost exclusively by donations, and so we have managed to get good enough at fundraising that we have our lovely Emily, um, our administrative assistant, who's a half-time employee. But apart from that, we're all volunteers and we all work out of our own homes.
Yeah. I also want to thank all the people involved in organizing the gala. That was one of the most wonderful time I've had in a long, long time. So,
Hmm.
and so it involved in a lot of work to organize that, and
I
I
saw
have
you out there,
doesn't have
Raymond, on the dance
I
floor.
don't have one bad word to say.
Very nice, very nice. Well, these comments are wonderful. I mean, the appreciations are going to continue, I'm sure. Maybe I'll take one more because I want to move to another question, and then we can always circle back if people have other thoughts. But any one last appreciation for the moment? This will not end it, certainly.
Mhm.
Yes, Susan.
So I'm going to make a plug for the creativity that I've seen in Amherst Neighbors. Um, not only in thinking of what people might need, like a ride or going to an event like the Art Museum or Hitchcock Center, because I had I got a request from the hall team to help somebody move summer and winter clothes from the upstairs down to the basement. And that's something I wouldn't have thought about. But we spent a couple of hours taking small batches of clothes downstairs and then upstairs. And she was so thrilled and so excited that she had her warm clothes ready when she needed them. So be creative about what would help you have a better day or a better week. And we might find somebody who can help you do that. Another one that really jumps out to me at creativity was one that I heard about last week where somebody requested assistance with picture hanging. They had the framed pictures, but they needed help actually putting them on the wall. And I believe that was supposed to happen the last couple of days. I don't know if it did. Anyway, be creative and talk to us. Thank you.
So Paul, I just put the questions on the chat
Okay.
if people can actually look at them.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Well, as you look at those, I'm going to move on because as you can see, we're totally in love with ourselves. Right? We do a great job. We have great spirit, great energy, knowledge base, the whole 9 yards. But we'd be remiss if we didn't ask the question, what could we do better? And I think that's probably what is going to be the cornerstone of what helps us continue to be successful, is always trying to do better at what we do. So let's mull over that a little bit. Any suggestions for us? And I would be inspired by um, the message on creativity we just had. Be creative in thinking about this. I see Ken and then I see Chad. So let's go. Ken, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Um, so Larry, you and I discussed briefly a while ago, meeting with somebody from UMass, and I want to double down on that and meet with that gentleman, I think has access to resources at UMass. And I suspect maybe people know people at Amherst College or other local 5 college schools who might have resources that could come this way. So Larry, let's make a date to meet with that guy, Tony.
I'm all in for that, and thank you for plugging that. It's people knowing people, and Ken has a friend or a contact at UMass that has a role that might be something that would be favorable if anybody else out there knows people that are involved in developing business in town. If somebody knew Barry Roberts, for example, and had a relationship, could get me to sit in front of him, that kind of thing is we need that. We desperately need you to tell us, here's somebody you should think about going after. Thank you, Ken, for plugging that.
Let me add to my story. Several
Yes.
years ago, I was newly friends with Linda Terry, who I met on a trip to Israel. I would be her guest at her home, and she was working on this thing, Amherst Neighbors. I had no idea what it meant. I was admiring her creativity, her dedication, and here we are realizing the fruits of her and others' labor. Another thing, Paul Wiley, I was with somebody who you coached in youth football a long time ago, I suspect. And I'll share that name some other time.
Well, you were right with your suspicions. It was a very long time ago. I will thank you, Ken, and we'll talk New York Giants at some point. I saw Chad's hand, and then after that, I saw Allison. So, Chad, we'll go right ahead. Good to
And
see you.
Josna's also had her hand up, but she
I
didn't put
see.
it on.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Hi, Chad.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I didn't get into the kudos, and so I'm going to do a short, quick one. That it's, I guess you could call it free membership. Now, the reason this is good is because for me, it's like the Beacon Hill neighbors, the initial. If we talk about being quote free, we get towards things like the Schumacher Center. I don't know if you're familiar with them. We get towards the new economy, solidarity economy, co-ops like the food co-op we're building, Valley Time Trade, which is free, exchanging time for the same things that Amherst Neighbors does. But anyway, so I wanted to make sure that at least I gave the thumbs up for, the lack of paid membership types of things. So in the same regard, if Jane's been here 4 years, I guess I was here 6 years ago. Now that you're 5 years old, you can apply for the community foundation, if you will. I forget what it's called in this area.
Community
Maybe
Foundation of Western Mass.
Pioneer
Community
Valley
Foundation of Western Mass.
of Western Mass. So you can't do that until you're 5 years old. The problem with that is you have to perform the grant. I like all these other kinds of fundraising ideas, except grants, but if you can find a way to fit it in, my suggestion is pick up the old Beacon Hill model, the Beacon Hill Neighbors model. Make it about proximity. Make it about neighbors. That's where the part of the title came from. And I can talk to you more about that if interested.
Thank you, Chad. Allison. Hi, Allison.
Hi, I want to thank everybody because even though I haven't been very active for a lot of it for health reasons and stuff, relocation reasons, I think it's been a great organization and just knowing you all are here, it's a real support. I've been also participating in Northampton Neighbors, and I don't know what if there is a communication or a working relationship with Northampton Neighbors, but they are very, very well organized and have a lot of activities. And I found myself being drawn partly to it because a lot of the things that I've become aware of have been one-on-one through Amherst Neighbors or on Zoom. But there are, now with, COVID sort of abating a bit, it'd be nice to have more like events like you had, like going to the Hitchcock or the Gal, to actually have more opportunities to actually maybe get together. I myself, I feel I'll take responsibility for not reaching out. There are times I've thought about going to movies and such, and maybe should have put it out on the listserv. I find the listserv a little bit cumbersome myself. So I'm not really sure how to address that. Whether, well, with an event like movies, I could see that makes sense.
Mm.
But whether things can be more, again, on a calendar with messages coming out, or networking. I know, like with Northampton Neighbors, one thing they did is people who were interested in hiking, they became a smaller subset email group to be aware of hikes that were happening regularly, and that you could then respond to directly to the person organizing it rather than having to go through the whole network. And I think that maybe facilitates some things happening because in a smaller subset group. So that's all I have to say. I'm hoping I will be able to think of things I can contribute and speak with somebody, because I have thought about things. I just have not been able to because of health reasons, but
Mhm.
I'm hoping to. So, thank you.
We hope you will, Allison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I
good to
have
see you.
ideas. You know
Uh-huh.
me, but Paul knows me.
I do, yeah, for a long time.
And I love,
Thank you.
I am sorry I missed the Banda Criolla because that would have been right up my alley, but
Mm.
it's
Oh
around.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
We were trying to party pretty hard there. We,
Yeah.
wanted the police to come and shut us down, but
That's one
we
thing I
didn't
can
get that
be
hard
good.
into it. We almost did it though.
Yeah, I can be good networking to sort of a dance community. That I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know, if people want to go swing dancing, I'm happy to introduce you.
Well, there you go. Okay. So I think was Jasna in the queue there at some point?
Yes, Josna. So
Josna, I'm sorry I pronounced
no,
your name
no,
wrong.
doesn't matter.
Uh,
But so I signed up as a volunteer and did a volunteer training with Liz Welsh before she left. And at that time, so I have two things. One is an idea which I would love to work on in sometime in 2025. And one is something that I'm already working on kind of ad hoc with half a dozen members of Amherst Neighbors. The first thing is the idea of having little neighborhood villages, so that, like, I live in North Amherst, in a little neighborhood of 6 streets, all dead end with no sidewalks, and we're very close, and we've got a lot of elderly people, but we've also got young families with kids. We've got the gamut, and probably more on the elderly side. But my thought was that I would love to work on creating, trying to get everyone in my neighborhood, or as many people as possible, no matter what their age or ability, to join Amherst Neighbors, and then create like a Farview neighborhood village. And then, if someone in our neighborhood called for help to the line for needing something, and they'd say, the person answering the phone would say, where do you live? And they'd say, Farview neighborhood. And then the first line would be to check with other members of Farview neighborhood to see if a neighbor of mine needed an light bulb screwed in, climbing up on a little step ladder. I could walk over to her house and do that for her rather than drive from South Amherst. I thought it would help, it could help build our community, our little communities, what Chad was saying about proximity. Anyway, not to go on, but maybe some people are already doing that in town and in Amherst Neighbors, and I would love to work on that in my neighborhood. And try to sign up people who are a little younger so that they can be helping give services, and then 10 years from now they'll be receiving them. So that was the first thing. And very quickly, the thing that I'm working on with Chad and Audrey and a couple of other people is, I think Pat is here too, or was here, to try to have a sort of, it's a study group, it's a working group to try to bring back UMass Meals on Wheels. It was ended during the pandemic. It was a very popular program that had gone for like 30 years. My parents availed themselves of it for several years, and it so improved their quality of life at the end of their lives when they couldn't cook anymore. And UMass was proud of it. UMass is so proud of its meals, getting fresh food from the UMass chefs hot to the door of Amherst people. And so I'm really keen to what we're doing in our group. And if anyone wants to join, we'll put another call out on the listserv. We're meeting once a week. Right now, we're fact finding. Why did it end? How much did it cost? Who paid for it? What how many people were involved in it, how many people were served by it. And then we're going to go to UMass and see whether at the UMass end they're ready to bring it back. And then we'll need to go to the town and find out from the town end. I think our goal is to come up with a proposal with a kind of like a business plan as well. How would this be funded? How would this be operated? Because it would mostly volunteers operating it. So we would like the town to pick it up, but right now the town has a dearth of volunteers at the senior services, and Amherst Neighbors has a lot. So anyway, I just wanted to announce that and say that we are going to come back to Amherst Neighbors with a proposal, which we would love for Amherst Neighbors to put forward to the town, or somehow we haven't worked out the best way to go about it, like strategically, and also just we don't want to, don't want to make anyone bent out of shape. We just want to see whether this wonderful program can come back.
Well,
So
Justin, this is wonderful in terms of, and I'm relating it to doing better. It sounds like you're also suggesting to us as an organization that we really start tapping into or retapping into some of these resources that are existing here in and around us. Similar to what Chad was saying, so this, sort of, going after and managing and using resources to our advantage. And that sounds like a great idea. Paul, I think you had your hand up, or you do?
I do.
Yeah. I see now. Yeah.
The issue of how to reach other people in the Amherst community who might be interested in the activities and the help that Amherst Neighbors offers, it suggests to me that there may be other pathways for outreach, one of which could be the app that has become very popular for connecting neighbors to each other. The app is called Nextdoor. I know many of you are familiar with it. Nextdoor has become a little bit of a cesspool of complaints, but it is also a place where people ask for help literally every hour of the day. Someone is asking, I need help moving this, I need help carrying, I need a ride, and it goes on constantly all day long. In addition, people also offer items for sale or that they're giving away, or they ask for things that they'd like. If somebody has an extra snow shovel, could you lend it to me or give it to me? So if we can find a way to connect our activities with Nextdoor, the simplest way would be to create a Nextdoor account labeled Amherst Neighbors and start participating in that community, in the community activities that are associated with Amherst.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to go back while I'm waiting to see if is there another hand up? While I'm waiting for another hand to come up, I want to go back to what Josna, you were saying. In my neighborhood, we're on the cul-de-sac, and this is not Amherst Neighbors, but I think in spirit, this is how some things happen. We have a book club, and the book club meets like every month and a half or so, depends on what we're doing, and we rotate among 4 homes. And the 4 homes, we, one brings the host home does dinner, and the other 3 divide up between salad, hors d'oeuvres, and dessert. And we rotate this thing around. But the interesting part about it is not so much that, but we have called on each other to help each other with things, and all of us are old. So it's like, we're found ways to help each other with different kinds of tasks and the like. So I like the energy you were talking about, and I think that's the kind of energy we're trying to promote with Amherst Neighbors too. How can we get people engaged and committed to serving each other and helping us all, grow well and safely in community? So other ideas, places we could do better. Maybe you could even merge into what you would like to see Amherst Neighbors, where you'd like to see us go in the future. I hear some futuristic ideas here, like the Nextdoor app, which I've seen. Paul, it's interesting. Yes, Jane.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of really great ideas too. And some of them are things that we have talked about in the past, like doing some neighborhood level outreach and organizing. And I think the idea of connecting with Nextdoor is good too. I just will, remind people that bring your ideas and then also bring your time and the energy, because having an account, for example, with Nextdoor means that somebody's got to read it and manage it, and we're really sort of maxed out right now in terms of the capacity that those of us who are administrative volunteers have to implement new ideas. So we want to hear your new ideas. We'd love it when we hear, as we have with these great ideas, people actually taking the ball and running with it, and we want to see more of that.
Let's see. Other comments?
I'm wondering, just thinking on that idea of neighborhoods, if without going to the level of Nextdoor, because that might just be a suggestion even that can be put out to people, because I joined Nextdoor. It's a good resource that just maybe people should be made aware of, but perhaps even among the members that exist or new members, just having neighborhood lists. Like being able to say, okay, identify people in certain neighborhoods and say, hey, here are members who are willing to be called on, and have a group list. That's just a thought. Simpler idea.
Sure, sure. Hi, Richard. Welcome.
Hi.
You have your hand.
There you go, right ahead. You can.
Okay. I actually would circle back to your original question about what I appreciate about Amherst Neighbors. And I've taken advantage of some of the programs. But if I were to say what has been most important to me has been Amherst Neighbors giving me the opportunity to get out of the house and help other people, because that makes me feel good. And so that basically is a gift that Amherst Neighbors has given me. That's it.
Thanks.
That's plenty. I hear you, and it's a wonderful comment. Audrey.
I finally got my mute to shut off.
I kept staring over there at your screen to get this, and I'm going to keep looking and see
I
the
kept
hand
doing
goes
the
up.
same things and it finally did it. Yeah,
Well,
I wanted
welcome to the screen.
go back to my first
Go right
comment
ahead.
that I wanted to make about what I appreciate about it. And for me, it's been at my advanced age, a lot of my friends are gone. And this has been a wonderful opportunity for me to get to know new people. And I've really enjoyed it from the very beginning when we were beginning to form Amherst Neighbors through the present day. And I have an idea in connection with the idea of the neighborhood thing. I've reached the point where I'm not driving, and this has changed my life a whole lot. And I was thinking it would be in the idea of the neighborhood thing, just being able to attend some things where it's too difficult for me to get to, like the lunches and the all the different things where we meet in person. If there was somebody that I could contact in with a reasonable distance of my house, that would be really helpful to be able to get to more things now that I'm not driving anymore. But it's been a great opportunity for me to know so many more new people, and I'm really enjoying it.
And that's great. And people available to give rides to other people is within our wheelhouse. And maybe not as specific to a neighborhood as you're speaking about, but I don't know, Larry or someone may be able to tell you how many times we've had provided rides to people who need to be at a certain place, whether it's a doctor's appointment or whether it's a shopping or you have to just go see someone or whatever. And that's a great feature we have. And I'm also here, you're speaking about, the need for convenience of that when you need it and how to think about that and be able to make it happen for those of us who are, not driving anymore. Anyway.
Well, I use the volunteer drivers regularly to get to appointments and things like that. And it's been wonderful. But what I'm thinking now of just the casual things that come up that I wouldn't make an appointment for, but if somebody down the couple blocks away was going from Amherst Neighbors, that would be really great. But it's kind of hard to arrange those things.
Yeah, let me comment a little bit. And Audrey knows the opportunities and has been real supportive of of Amherst Neighbors. And let me just say, like, using Susan Krim's, we used to call it Lunch in the Park. It's got different names, but that group coming together on a Tuesday afternoon at noon, if it was something that you wanted, it is an option to reach out to Amherst Neighbors volunteer line and just say, I'd love to go, give us the day and time. We have great success getting people to requests, especially in town. I mean, sometimes we get responses within minutes of the request going out. It's that good. So anybody that was, we gave some folks rides to the gala as an example. We've done it to our picnics every year. Same idea. But as Allison alluded to and others, if there was a way that we could figure out how to use the directory better than we do, we've had a lot of success with the listserv as a way to reach out, and increasingly so. People have found some benefit from using it. If we could have a directory, and we have a directory, but we haven't figured out a way to really use it well. And people would need to opt in, meaning they would want their name and information on it. It's embedded in the IT system called Club Express. So maybe that's an area of opportunity to figure out so that you could open the directory and actually see where a member is in your, on your street or in your, in your neighborhood. Yeah.
We're at about 7:15, and I know I asked earlier, and Jane said we have to about 7:30, and I want to give certainly us board members, Jane in particular, a chance to close this out. But there's one particular thing I'd like to get to is how can we get you and other members more involved in our organization? We have a lot of affection for this organization. We have a lot of skills out there, a lot of energy. And we're at the point where, we are, in order to be successful and move forward, we need not only more members, but we need more participatory members. We need more board members. We need more people who are willing to sit on committees and those kinds of things. So, the question of how can we get you and other board members more involved in our organization is an important and great question for us. And I wonder if anyone would like to take a stab at it. Sarah?
Paul,
Yes.
yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't find Ray sent because I guess the screen is different now. I look everywhere, so sorry about that. But
That's okay.
I have an idea that I would like to put it out there
Go
since
ahead.
you're looking for new ideas. As many of you would know, I am disabled and I use a wheelchair. I'm lucky enough, and I have a van sitting in my garage. And due to macular degeneration, I cannot drive anymore. So I cannot go to the places I would like to go because I have to arrange for somebody to give me a ride. PVT is very difficult. There's lots of waiting times involved. But what a senior center has accomplished doing, which is very, very popular among people with disabilities, is they got a van donated by PVTA. So they hire a part-time driver who would take people from places to different destinations. So if we have lots of volunteers and if we can get hold of a donated van like that with the responsibility of the upkeep and everything, that might be bring lots of people to join the activities going on into communities. Like I'm a member of Disability Access Advisory Committee, and the town is putting lots of accessible trails and places for people of disabilities to go and enjoy, yet they have no way of reaching those destinations. So that might be something we might put in our long-term plans, and I'll be happy to participate in it.
It's a tremendous idea. So that's a rich resource for sure. It seems like a lot of
Yeah.
people need and rely upon transportation for so many varied reasons. And
Yeah.
certainly that would help.
Mm.
So we're getting toward the end, and I want to go back because I think, you know, this, how do we get you and other members more involved in our organization? Any ideas around that we could take back as a board and consider? Any thoughts? Saw somebody's hand on my screen jumped.
Yeah, Josna.
Josna, yeah.
Oh, but you're muted again, my friend.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, one thought is that many people like me, for example, who have attended the volunteer training or orientation, then stop there. In other words, where to go next? Because there was one thing where for do certain things, you have to get a Corey check or something like that. If you're going to, I've forgotten what that was. But then I'm guessing that there may be a number of people like me who finished the volunteer orientation and then sort of weren't sure where to reach out to next or what to do next. So maybe there could be a way to have something special for people like that. What is take the next step, help them plug into something. Now that you've done the training, I see you've done the training, you haven't yet signed up for something. We need this, this, or this, or here's a person who needs someone coming regularly once a week, or so I think that might help. As it happened, I had a couple of things in mind, so I'm now starting to do them. But I think this might be helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, good suggestion.
Larry, were you
I'm
gonna
just
say
gonna,
something?
I can read Laura's mind, and all I can say, Josna, is that Laura is going to reach out to you personally.
Wait, did you see me writing her name down?
I did, yeah, I could feel the vibe.
Everybody did, I think.
Something fell through the cracks.
Sorry.
I don't know what it was that fell through the crack, but we even were chasing people that we've trained who then don't show up as doing any volunteer work, and we've been going back to them to double check. Was it us? Was it you? What happened? And cleaning that database. We'd love for you to be an active volunteer, please. That would be wonderful.
Don't worry, Joseph. I'll be getting in touch with you.
Oh my goodness. That is great. These are wonderful ideas, wonderful appreciations. I'm just hearing all kinds, like I said, skills and knowledge and experience coming forward here. And we have a rich community, and we're hoping that we can get more members more deeply involved. And I imagine there are some board members out there among you. There's got to be, because you sound like board members, and you have great ideas, you have a lot of energy, etc. But anyway, let me just go to Jane right now.
Yeah, I don't know if this was anything that you intended, Joseph, but one of the things that you made me aware of is that we really should be doing some volunteer trainings for people to do things other than services, because I think that's the entry point that most people see clearly when they want to do more with Amherst Neighbors. But it's not the only way to volunteer. So I'm going to think about this and think about what kind of orientation or training could we do to get people more involved in the organization in other ways as well, besides just doing services. So thank you for that.
Yep.
My final comment, just as I know we're nearing the end, is at least currently, interest groups that have worked, whether it be what have all had a birth through the listserv. And I'll use the UMass Meals on Wheels as an example. Somebody brought up the idea, and a bunch of people responded with fervor, and something's happening there. So there's some communication. The hiking group idea that Allison had, that would be a great interest group. And we all along had said, as Jane really put it honestly, those of us that are administratively connected to things are a bit peaked, maxed. We need other folks to say, yeah, I want to hike. Anybody else want to hike? And all of a sudden there's 5 or 6 hikers and they take a hike, Amethyst Brook, whatever. And then how about we do it again next week or in 2 weeks? And so it just becomes, it's birthed out of communication with one another. We can be helpful. We can give you a Zoom if you want to do something that's, like this, or, figuring out how to get together administratively, but we can't lead everything. We need you to want to take that further. So I'm hoping that more folks will do like I've seen. Hey, anybody want to go to a movie? Anybody want to go out to dinner together? I've seen a few of those. I've seen the crochet or needlepoint 3 o'clock at my house on a Sunday afternoon. I love that stuff. That's people being with people. That's what we're really all about. So more is better of that, and we're just encouraging that and being honest about where our limits are. But we can be helpful as Ann Sklar and Ken Bernstein and others have tried to do stuff with solo aging and creative ideas. There's opportunity for more creativity, and we'll support it in any way that we can. And with that, I will shut up.
Well, that puts a period on it, I guess, given the time frame. And I want to suggest, and then I'll defer to you, Jane, on this, but this is not the end of our conversation. This is an opportunity for us to come together here and face to face share our ideas and our thoughts. But, we're going to walk away from this and folks are going to have other thoughts. They're going to have other ideas. And hopefully some of you are going to have a feeling like, I really need to get myself moving more toward being a part of that organization where I can make an impact. So if that happens, Jane, I would like for folks to know how they can communicate that. Who best to communicate those ideas to right now, or that energy?
Well, I think probably anybody on the board, if you know someone on the board, would be a good place to start. Larry's going to be our acting president starting in January. And I will just say that the only reason I'm leaving Amherst Neighbors is because I'm taking care of a 99-year-old, and I'm really spread too thin. But Larry would be a good person to contact, or someone else that you know. I know there was also a call for people who were interested in interest groups a while back, and Pat Romney is planning to reconnect with people around that. We did have some people express interest, so there's a plan for a gathering for people to pursue interest group connections. So that's in the works. We didn't put it in the list because we couldn't put everything, but this has been a great inspiration for me to hear from all of you. I hope that Amherst Neighbors will do more of these kinds of conversations, and that you all who have great ideas and have energy will reach out to one of us and let us know what you'd like to do, and how we and see how we can help make that happen. So, any other final words?
Thank you all for being here.
Yes,
We
thank
made
you
it.
so
No,
much.
I
Thank
got
you.
a final word.
Good to see everyone.
Yeah.
Paul, yeah.
Laura, while we were on mute, Laura wanted to share her appreciation for the way that Paul has sort of conducted the last 45 minutes of the meeting. His energy is very centering, very calm and centering. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. I'm sure other people feel the same way as I do.
Yes. He's had a lot of experience with kids.
Okay. Paul Wiley
Thank you, Allison.
doesn't have any nerves left because he was the principal at Crocker Farm for so long. That's why he's so calm.
Well, I could only do it. Thank you, Laura.
So
Thank
thank
you,
you. Can
Paul.
you put our
Thank you.
can you put our happy holidays screen up, Emily? And I'll just say, in addition to thanking Paul, I'd like to thank everybody else who helped
Yeah.
present the slideshow. And most of all, I want to thank all of you for coming and for sharing your wisdom with us. And we wish you a really
Oh, there it is.
happy
There it is.
holiday.
Thank
Wow,
you,
however
everybody.
you
Happy
celebrate.
whatever holiday you celebrate. Happy
Exactly.
holiday.
All of them.
Thank you for
All of them.
participating and enjoy the next few weeks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thank you,
Enjoy the-
Jane.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, Paul.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome, everybody. Good to see you.
And,
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.